Now if I press the mode button once, it will take you to the stopwatch, and as you can see it says STW, and you do have some 0 digits here. But also if the stopwatch isn't working, you will always see what would be your local time, or the time that you've set timekeeping mode to at the bottom, and it will feature it in the format that you've chosen, which in this case is 24 hours. But obviously if you featured it in 12 hours on the main timekeeping mode, it will show it as 2 with a P there, indicating 2:33 p.m. So what you got to remember with this stopwatch is that it is not the conventional type of stopwatch in which you can start and stop and do elapsed times, etc., or what will be split times. This one's more of what would be an event timer, or an event type of stopwatch, in that what you do, you press start, and then what it'll do is set the 2 displays running, with the bottom one being an elapsed time that just keeps counting even if you do press this button here, but the top one will stop and start every time you press this sort of button here. So what I'm going to quickly do, I'll show you how to use the stopwatch, I'll show you how to reset it, and also I'll give you an indicator of how to set what would be an event timer. And then what I will do is just give you an indication or a scenario in which this stopwatch could work. So to start the stopwatch, you press this button down the bottom right hand corner, which you've got the start just indicated there, and as you can see you've got the 2 timers going on there, and also you've got the stopwatch being flashing there, indicating that this timer at the top is working. If I was to press it once, as you can see there, now the timer has paused at the top, but the elapsed time is still working at the bottom. To release that timer, so it just keeps carrying on counting, you can see that it is now counting at a slightly different time to that. And there is a reason for that, which I'll talk about later. So again, if I just want to quickly stop that timer, but if I want to reset the whole stopwatch, make sure that's not flashing by pressing that button to stop that timer, and then keep your finger on the adjust button there, and as you can see it is all reset to 0. So I'll just quickly show you again, because it is, as I say, it's not a conventional stopwatch. You press the start button here. You can't reset it when the STW is flashing. What you need to do is press that button again, that stays solid, and if that's solid then you can just reset both timers just there, and that's it. And that's how you essentially operate the stopwatch. Now this watch does have what's known as an event timer here, and that is accessed by making sure that you've zeroed off all these stopwatch function, which I've shown you just before. And what you do is you press the adjust button there just to access it. So I'll just go back to the stopwatch and I'll long press the adjust button again, as you can see. And what you can do is you can set a target time, so you can go forward or you can go backward, and the target time can be up to 60 minutes. But what I could do is set it for, say for example, I'll just go forward, it'll be quicker. So let's set it for a minute, and I'll just press the target time again. So if I just want to make sure that I've set the target time, as you can see, I press the adjust button and it has taken me out of the target time. So if I want to start the stopwatch, now what will happen is when this watch goes up to a minute, it will start beeping to indicate that the elapsed time has hit what will be the target that you've set for the elapsed time. But what you'll notice is I've just paused the what I would consider as stoppage time, but what you'll see, I can just release it again and these two will be just totally different. But when you do get to that minute, it will start to indicate that you've hit the target time. So I'll just quickly speed up what the time is here and you get an idea of it beeping. So as you can see, you've actually hit your target time, and it will indicate that the target time has elapsed. So again, what you need to do is press the button so the stopwatch or the STW stops flashing, and then reset it, which you can easily do. And if you want to go back to the target time to adjust it, you can easily do so by keeping your finger at the top left hand button and obviously cycling through whatever time you want it to go to. And if you don't want it to beep on a certain target time, then obviously if you get it to dashes, it'll just work as a stopwatch in the fashion that the stopwatch works on this watch. If I want to just quickly go back to what will be the stopwatch, as you can see here. Now the way you've got to kind of consider how these timers work. If you was doing a 45-minute game of football, so for example, football, obviously you know it's a game of 2 halves, and that is 45 minutes each half. What you could do is either set up an event timer, as I've shown you, so it'll beep when it gets to 45 minutes, and that will give you an indication that the elapsed time of that game has hit 45 minutes. Now where the timer at the top can work, every time you do kind of pause it for stoppage time, what you can do is when it gets to 45 minutes at the bottom, you can see what the time is at the top. So say for example, the stoppage time equaled say 39 minutes and you've hit 45 minutes at the bottom. What you can then do is take the 39 minutes from the 45 minutes, and that will give you the equivalent of 6 minutes extra time, because obviously the game has kind of stopped for those 6 minutes. So that's how that kind of timer can help work depending on the sport that you're in. So again, if I just want to come out of it, I'll just make sure that the STW stop flashing, and as you can see there, that's how you stop the stopwatch. And that is how to use the stopwatch on this watch, as well as set up an event timer.